I don't know if I can answer that because I think it's different in every case. I think the advice I would give a student filmmaker is, number one, make sure your script is good. Don't ever go into pre-production or production with the thought that I'll rewrite that later. Because once the production starts, the train has left the station. And if you're going to pick it up and try to say to myself, I'm going to grab this 60-mile-an-hour moving train, it's going to rip your arm off. I think, I try to say to myself and make sure the script is bulletproof. And I think the director and the writer and the producers have to determine what bulletproof is. And you can't always foresee where the weaknesses in the scripts are until you get into this process, because this process is a visual medium. You've taken it out of an intellectual realm of making believe or foreseeing or a vision, and you put it in a real environment where you're reacting. And the intellectual realm is how do I make this work for the audience as best as it possibly can in creating those golden moments. Make sure the script is good. Get a great DP. If I was making a student film, I think I'd be a little fastidious in the regard that I would say I want every frame to look like a Rembrandt. I would want every frame of production design to be so realistic and so natural to my story. None of this hyper accentuation of saturated colors, unless the story calls for a Baz Luhrmann script or production. And he does that very well. I mean, it's a very great style and it's visually stimulating. But if I'm going to do a South Central South Central LA story about gangs, I don't think I want primary colors or rich production. I want it nitty and gritty, because I think that's filmmaking 101. That communicates to your audience as much as dialogue does. The look of an actor communicates to an audience. I think there's more communicated visually to an audience than that's ever said on the written page. And I think those are the things that you say to yourself, well, whether the formula is 60% visually, 75% visually, or 90% visually, how much you communicate to them visually is really important. And so don't always worry about what the actor's going to do as a director. Concentrate in pre-production what the film's going to look like, so that when you're ultimately on the set, you are only focused on what the actors are presenting. And the one thing that I learned as a director on one film now, and with the second project on the drawing boards, is that I will take with me on the second project is you have to allow your actors to perform. If they want to try something, let them do it. I think I was just a little more, on my first film, I think I was a little more nervous than I would be on my second one. I was probably a little too myopic in my vision because as I say, the production train had started. I had to keep it stoked. I had to keep it moving. And so there was very little time to play around. If you're making a student film, play around with it. If an actor has a great idea, do it. It will open your horizons. If they got a bad idea, then you might have to draw a line somewhere.